Today we're going to go ahead and go over questions number 7 and 8 from our common assessment that we just recently did called Remembering Ghandi. I'm going over these questions together because it's a part A and part B, and the answers are connected. So as I go through this, the tool I can use on my on my PDF is the highlighting tool. So I'm going to tell you to cross things off on your paper. So as we're doing this, also cross items off on your physical paper as well. Okay? So part A asks me which statement from the passage explains how Ghandi took part in acts of non-cooperation. So I'm looking for parts of non-cooperation. So I'm going to highlight that. I want to look for examples that show non-cooperation or somebody not being uncooperative or not doing something that everybody else is doing. I have my choices are A, Ghandi urged Indian citizens to stop paying taxes to the British government. B, Ghandi encouraged Indians to become economically self-reliant. C, Ghandi was murdered by a man who was angered by his message of peace and equality. And D, Gandhi's beliefs of peace and equal rights for all continue to inspire. So first I'm going to cross some off that I'm not going to use. Right away, I'm looking for things showing that people aren't cooperating with the government. So I see here it says Ghandi, number C, Ghandi was murdered by a man who was angered by his messages of peace and equality. That him being murdered has nothing to do with him telling people to take acts in part to take part in acts of non-cooperation. So on your paper right now, cross off C. We are not going to use C. So you should be crossing this off right here on your physical paper. That leaves you with he urged Indian citizens to stop paying taxes. He encouraged Indians to become economically self-reliant, and his beliefs of peace and equal rights for all continue to inspire. So I know right away that I'm going to choose A because he's urging people not to pay taxes to the government. That's not cooperating. That's being uncooperative. He's telling them, hey, don't cooperate with the government. Not paying taxes is one. So I'm going to highlight that because I'm using, well, at any rate, you get it. I'm using A. So A is definitely an answer. So now I'm circling A on my paper. Okay. So that leaves me with B and D. So I'm going to look between B and D to figure out which of these two is an act of non-cooperation. Is it encouraging Indians to become economically self-reliant, or that his beliefs of peace and equal rights for all people to continue to inspire? Well, the fact that his beliefs of peace and equal rights inspire people has nothing to do with people physically not cooperating with the government. So I'm going to cross off D, and that leaves me with B. So that B, him telling the people to become economically self-reliant so they don't rely on the government, that's going to be the other answer. Okay, so the answer to 7 is number A and B. Okay. So now that I've answered this question, I can go on to part B, and I'm looking for a statement that best supports the answer to part A. So I'm looking for something that shows acts of non-cooperation that goes along with either he told them to stop paying taxes to the government or become self-reliant. So for 8, I have A, Ghandi spurred the effort for independence from Great Britain. B, Ghandi believed peaceful protests would have better results. C, Ghandi promoted workers' rights. Or D, in 1942, Ghandi and the Indian National Congress passed the Quiet India Resolution. So which supports these efforts of non-cooperation? So as I look at number 8 and I look at my paper, I'm going to cross off some I'm not going to use. Them passing the Quiet India Resolution, that is what Ghandi did with the Congress. That's not what he told people to do. It's not an action that people did. So I'm going to cross off D on my paper. So right now I'm going to cross off D because that's showing me something he did with the government, with Congress, not an act of non-cooperation like not paying taxes, like being economically self-reliant. So I'm crossing off D. That leaves me with he spurred efforts for independence from Great Britain. He believed peaceful protests would have better results, and Ghandi promoted workers' rights. Well, non-cooperation, telling people, hey, don't go along with the government, that's not promoting workers' rights. So I'm going to cross off C as well. Okay. Promoting workers' rights would be him saying, yes, workers have the right to do this and that. And that's not what this question asked me. This question asked me for examples of people taking part in non-cooperation. So I'm looking for a statement that supports that. So that leaves me with, because I crossed off C and D on my paper, it leaves me with Ghandi spurred an effort for independence from Great Britain, or or Gandhi believed peaceful protests would have better results. So of these two choices, which are these two things most in line with? So urging Indian citizens to stop paying taxes as an act of non-cooperation and encouraging Indians to become economically self-reliant as an act of non-cooperation best show what? That he spurred an effort for independence? Do these things have anything to do with independence? No. It says, or is it B, that he believed peaceful protests? These are examples of peaceful protests. He's telling them don't cooperate, but don't fight. So by them not paying taxes and becoming economically self-reliant, not relying on the government, that would be an example of peaceful protests that have better results. So that's why that's the best answer.